Hello, chemistry students. Let's do some dimensional analysis sample problems. So here's the first sample problem. So we're going to convert milliliters to liters. So the unknown is liters, the known is milliliters. And let's see if we can figure out how to get from where we are to where we want to be. So milli is the 1/1000th thing, so it takes 1,000 milliliters to make 1 liter. So let's do that. And when we solve, as always, do our train tracks, start with the known. Milliliters needs to go on the bottom. So there are 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. So the 1 liter will go on top, multiply across the top, divide by what's on the bottom. So 500 times 1 divided by 1,000, and that gives you 0.5. And that is the correct number of significant figures because, there's only 1 in 500 is written there. Now, if we said 500 point, then we would have to do 0.500 here to have the correct number of significant figures. All right, second sample problem. We're going to go from CGs to Gs. If you know what the C stands for, it's centa. All right, so we want to know grams, we know centigrams, and let's bring the chart up here and take a look at the grams and the centigrams. So there's 100 centigrams in 1 gram. All right, and we're going to solve. Start with the known, as always. Need the matching unit, centigrams, on the bottom right so that we can cross that out. And there's 100 centigrams in 1 gram. Cross out units. And mathematically, this will be 25 times 1 divided by 100. These are just fractions, and we're multiplying them by each other. So that'll give you 0.25 grams when you plug that into your calculator. All right, so we're going to convert from milligrams to kilograms in this one. This is a conversion, and also kilograms to milligrams, that throws off a lot of students because this one requires you to do more than one step, unless you happen to know a direct conversion between milligrams and kilograms. So I'm going to show you it as 2 steps. So we can get from milligrams to grams, and then we can get from grams to kilograms. So there's 1,000 milligrams in a gram, and then there's 1,000 grams in a kilogram. So that's going to be 2 steps. So our train track we'll have to extend. We'll have to add another tie to our train tracks, railroad ties. Anyways, let's see. So start with a known, and then milligrams we need to cancel out first. So there's 1,000 milligrams in a gram, and then we're still not to the unknown yet. So we'll continue on, and this time we're going to go from grams to kilograms. So grams on the bottom of the next conversion factor. There's 1,000 kilograms in 1 kilogram, and that will get us where we want to go and cancel out grams. So what do you do this time? Well, 400 times 1 times 1, and then divided by these 2 times each other. So however you do that, whichever calculator, make sure, the easiest thing I know to tell you to do is multiply these out, multiply the ones on the bottom out, do the top divided by the bottom, because this is just like a fraction mathematically. All right, so when you do that, you should get 0.0004 kilograms. Okay, so kilograms would not be a particularly good unit to express this amount in, and that does have the correct number of significant figures. All right, let's go centimeters to millimeters. There's more than one way to do this, but I'm going to show you, I think this is going to be the two-step method to get there. So we don't know millimeters, we do know centimeters. And looking at the chart, I can go centimeters to meters, and then meters to millimeters. So let's see if that's what this, yep, that's what it does. So 1 meter equals 100 centimeters, and 1 meter equals 1,000 millimeters. Now, some of you that are a little more mathematically inclined might look at that and say, I think I know a way you could convert straight from centimeters to millimeters. And if you happen to be able to look at this and figure out that there's 10 millimeters in each centimeter, because 1,000 is 10 times more than 100 and they're equal to the same thing, then good for you. And you can do that in one conversion. All right, so let's start with the known. As always, centimeters, 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. Cross out the units. And then going to millimeters, 1 meter, getting the number from the conversion, not from here, 1 meter equals 1,000 millimeters. So meters cancel out. So this will be 30 times 1,000 divided by 100. All right, so you get 300 millimeters. And that does have the correct number of significant figures there. All right, let's convert seconds to hours. This you might be able to do on your own without dimensional analysis, but I want you to show it using this factor label method. So you should, and factor label is doing the train tracks, and the labels are the units, and it's factoring because they're all fractions and you're multiplying them by each other, and some of the numbers will cancel out, kind of like when you're factoring things. And so do the units. You're factoring out the units as well. So factor label method here, start with the known. And then to get from seconds to minutes, there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. Seconds cancel out. And then there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. And minutes cancel out. So in your calculator, 3,500, multiply by the ones, no, it doesn't matter. Then divide by 60 times 60. Okay, so you could put this in, you could do the top, then you could do the bottom, multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, top divided by the bottom. That's what we're doing. All right, and that comes out to 0.97 hours and 2 significant figures here, so 2 significant figures here. All right, 2 years to say, and that's going to be a lot of seconds. Okay, so known as seconds, known as 2 years, and a lot of steps here to get from where we are to where we want to be, but it would be helpful for you to know there's 365 days in a year, and 24 hours in a day, and 60 in an hour, and 60 seconds in a minute. All right, so start with the known. As always, multiple steps will be involved here. So 2 years, years on the bottom. From the conversions, 1 year equals 365 days. Sometimes you just have to start these problems too. You may not be able to come up with the whole plan, but if you can do this, oh no, 1 year equals 365 days. So you put that in, and then like, oh, I can cancel out your, okay, well, how do I get from day? Well, no, a day equals 24 hours. So 1 day, 24 hours. Cancel out days. Okay, hours. I can do hours to minutes. All right. And hours cancel out. And I think I may have gotten some of the animation a little bit messed up here. But anyways, it's there. All right, so the minutes cancel out, the hours cancel out. And you're left with seconds. And as you're calculating, multiply everything on the top, multiply everything on the bottom, the top divided by the bottom. And you should get about 63 million seconds. That's a lot of seconds to, and just think your heart beats on average somewhere around 1 time every second. That's a lot of heartbeats for a couple of years there. All right, so here's another one. The Deepwater Horizon oil spill down in the Gulf of Mexico. That was another one that, it released a lot of barrels of oil, and you're like, oh, I wonder how many how many milliliters that is. Well, a barrel of oil, there are 42 gallons in one barrel, and there's 3.785 liters in 1 gallon. And there's 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. You can do this conversion and see that there were, let's see, what place are we in there? So this is hundreds, or actually, so we're up in the hundreds of thousands here, millions, billions, trillions. So there are 719 trillion milliliters of oil spilled into. Look, it's right down there. I could have just read the slide. Anyways, so that's a lot of milliliters of oil that were spilled during that oil spill. All right, so that brings us to the end of this video. I'll probably do one more and just show you how this looks when I write stuff out on paper and work these problems out, just so if you're working it out by hand, or I would recommend working it out by hand, you just know what it looks like. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.